As a company, we prize ourselves on being ahead of the curve and seeing what's around the bend. A great example of this in the company is actually what we did with Shoppo. As Snapdeal, we already have 2 lakh sellers. But what we thought is, what about all these sellers that we are saying no to as they try to, come online to Snapdeal? We noticed that about 7 or 8 out of 10 sellers we were saying no to, and we actually built Shoppo so that those sellers can come online with 0 commission and start being very successful. And this is a great example of us sort of going after a problem statement, looking after our sellers, seeing what's next. And so it's a very important thing for us to keep in our hearts as we grow the company. Just stay ahead of the curve and keep looking around the bend.
In the Snapdeal competency framework, I want to talk today about live for results. So live for results is being really passionate about the results, about the output, and meeting our goals and our targets. How does this really come about? You meet your goals through disciplined perseverance, through having an emotional fortitude, and being extremely hard-nosed about winning. I mean, you can think about very many examples in the world of whether it's politics, sports, business, people who have actually demonstrated this. One example I want to really talk about is an icon of India, Sachin Tendulkar. I mean, he practically lived for results and he delivered it through a discipline, a perseverance, continuing to strive for improvement every single day. What mattered was the results, the output. Individual glory was not the big thing. So I think what's important for all of us in Snapdeal as a framework is to remember that whatever we are doing has to make a difference and we have to achieve our goals. We have to be immensely and intensely passionate about winning. Thank you.
So they say that a leader is as good as his team, and personally I do believe that there cannot be a better truth than that. Any high performing team, the key ingredients of any high performing team would be its people. And it's very important when you're looking to build a high performing team that you have a very highly motivated and engaged team members working along with you. Now, how do you build a team which is extremely high on motivation and high on engagement? I think fundamentally it's important for any leader to answer 3 basic questions for any individual which is a part of his or her team. First question which you need to answer is what is it that your team members are supposed to do, right? And that's where the entire goal setting, giving directions, alignment with the overall vision of the organization becomes extremely important. The second question is, when you first clarify that what is it that your team members are supposed to do, the second question which you need to answer is how is it that they're supposed to be doing what they should be doing, right? So showing them the path is extremely critical. And I think that's where it's important for skill enhancement, learning, coaching and mentoring, the role which a leader has to play. And finally, the third question which you need to answer, and I think it's extremely important, is that if your team members are able to perform and do what you're asking them to do in the manner you're asking them to do, you need to ensure that they are treated fairly, right? And that's where the entire rewards, recognition and appreciation for the work which your team members are doing is extremely important. I think if you can put all these 3 things together and ensure that these 3 fundamental questions are getting answered for every single person in your team, there is no reason why you're not going to be building a very, very high performing team and a team culture within the organization. A true example of what high performing teams can achieve and what leaders who truly believe in developing their teams and their team members can achieve can be seen from Snapdeal itself. I think for an organization which is as young as 5 years old and has seen the kind of success which we've seen in last few years, it's a testimony to the fact that we treat our people and our teams extremely well. We put a lot of energy and effort to ensure that we are developing and providing answers to those 3 critical questions so that people are engaged and motivated and are willing to raise their hands, put their hands up and put their energies together to create a great organization what Snapdeal has become.
Hi, I'm Srinivas. I handle marketing for Snapdeal. I'm here to talk to you about the importance of breathing change and why it's great for your career growth at Snapdeal. What is change? Change is nature's way of helping us grow. For those of you who are young enough to remember adolescence and those old enough to have adolescent children, I'm sure you realize that as your body went through changes in adolescence, and sometimes it's painful, sometimes it's emotional, but the prize, the reward at the end of it is growth. You finish that phase as a stronger person, as physically stronger, mentally more agile, and you're more mature and ready to take on the world. And how do you breathe change really? Be ready to challenge status quo. Look at what the company's been doing. Shopper was launched very recently and it's been a roaring success. It happened because we challenged our own status quo. Freecharge repositioned itself as a wallet and the rollout is fabulously successful. It's clocking up new wallet rollout numbers every day. And it's the same reason, because we kept breathing change. And challenging the status quo is one of the most important behaviors that will help you breathe change. And how do you challenge status quo, you might ask? Well, the answer is simple. To be ready for change, you need to be close to reality. So always be in touch with what your customer wants. Ask yourself the question, is this going to make the experience better? Is this going to make my supply chain more efficient? Is this going to make my sellers more profitable? And once you have the courage of conviction, of ground reality in a very rapidly changing digital ecosystem environment, you'll be very comfortable with challenging the status quo, being able to suggest answers yourself, and you'll be breathing the change, you'll be the change. And this much I can tell you, the reward for that is great. It's fabulous growth in your career at Snapdeal.
To me, service obsession is really about putting the customer at the heart of everything we do. It is not a process, it's actually a culture. And there are several ways that this culture can manifest. So for example, every element of a customer's interaction with Snapdeal should support and reinforce our brand. And a lot of work that we are doing in terms of customer communication, revamping the entire communique, the look, the feel, the tonality, the relevance, the context of communication is a step in this direction. Secondly, a continuous process of ensuring that we eliminate all defects in our service delivery. I think that's very important in terms of how the customer feels and experiences our product. And on the odd occasion when defects do occur, our service recovery is so exceptional that it actually creates an opportunity for increased customer loyalty. And a lot of work here is being done in terms of from a defect elimination perspective, the stuff in terms of reducing IPS, CPS. I think that's a step in the right direction. Where it comes to service recovery, I think we need to transition or make the shift from reactive to proactive and predictive. And therefore, a lot of work being done in terms of how we will predict customer defect, identify it before the defect happens, and resolve it so that again the customer experience is very seamless. And lastly, we continue to deliver a differentiated customer experience. And simply put, promise made is promise kept. So when we tell a customer that we will deliver to you in 3 days, we actually deliver in 3 days. Why is service obsession important? I think most businesses thrive on repeat business. Most business models actually thrive on repeat business. And no customer will make a repeat purchase from you if the first experience is not good or experiences are not good. So therefore, it's very important to get this aspect of service delivery and service experience right to make sure that you have a thriving and flourishing business.
One Snapdeal is about championing the shared vision and values of the company and passionately chasing them with great cross-functional collaboration. As we've grown to become a company of a large size, we believe it's very important that each one of us understand what that one vision and goal is and chase that very passionately. And there's no way we can achieve those goals unless we are working together with each other completely seamlessly. The best instance of this I saw was this Diwali season, right on the night of 27th September, one day before our Preview Monday sale. We had a lot of things lined up, and still there were a few glitches that all of us had to sit together and work out. There was the supply chain team, there was the category team, the marketing team, the product and the tech teams in the war rooms. Each one of us came together and worked passionately to ensure that right at midnight when the sale went on, customers had a great experience. They found the deals and the offerings that they wanted, and they rewarded us with the growth that we need. So we believe that one Snapdeal is really important to make us successful consistently in the future.
So, innovation has always been the life stream of Snapdeal. if you look at when we transitioned from a coupon business to a marketplace, we were the first people to do it, and it's one of the big reasons we are where we are today in the e-commerce scene in India. Even recently, if you look at our wallet launch, for example, and how deeply Freecharge is integrated into it, we couldn't have imagined a scenario like this a year before. And so for us, it is important to always look at users, look at changing needs, and how fast we are evolving. This was a big insight that came to us a year ago, which is going forward, what is going to be the default payment option will become critical to what, how people see e-commerce. And that was when we made a decision to go in for the Freecharge acquisition and then build a wallet over time. And you'll see this play out a lot more. In the next year, the Freecharge wallet will become the most important tool we have in this mad landscape of e-commerce in India. This is a really important learning for us as a company, which is as we continue to evolve and as our users get much more used to what used to be a brand new industry 5 years ago, we have to keep evolving, we have to keep innovating, and we have to keep doing things differently to stay ahead in the game. Innovation for growth is one of the most important values for us to hold as a company going forward if we want to continue succeeding at the pace we have.
Given our scale at Snapdeal, our next level of growth will also be fueled by strong process and quality frameworks. Processes that basically bring the entire seller ecosystem, the entire customer ecosystem, the entire experience together, which ensures that from a listing stage to the end customer delivery stage, everything is seamlessly tied. Quality frameworks which basically help us deliver consistent experience to both sellers and consumers every single time.
So Drive the Dream is all about promoting entrepreneurial thinking in you. Everyone in the organization is an entrepreneur at all levels. Snapdeal, for one, as a company, we've reached this scale because of calculated risks that we've taken. 3.5 years back when we started, we took the calculated risk of the business model of being a marketplace when everybody else was an inventory-led model, and that paid off huge benefits for us. Those kind of calculated risks are important to be taken at every single level, and that's what we want to nurture as a part of this competency. And as an organization, in order to promote this entrepreneurship at every level, we intend to create an environment which will allow each one of you to innovate. And each one of you will be able to come out with new ideas, develop them, and reap the benefits out of it. That's the idea behind this.